Hi, welcome to another edition of World Cup Central right here on Channel 1 TV. Today is May 22, 2026, and what it means is that we have just 20 days to the start of the 2026 FIFA World Cup, set to be hosted by the United States of America, Canada, and Mexico. Speaking of Mexico, they will be in action later. Even Ghana is 2 a.m. against the Black Stars of Ghana. It's an international friendly. The teams are using it to prepare themselves for the 2026 World Cup. A lot of people have been reacting to that World Cup, the essence of it, whether it's important to actually play that World Cup because of the subplot or the stories around the two countries who are submitting squads that more like will not be the first team names for the World Cup squad, but we'll be getting into that. And then we'll also look at Ghana's opponents in Group L. That's England. Thomas Tuchel, their head coach, named 26-man squad that has a lot of people talking. Right, we'll be taking a quick break. When we return, I've got two good, interesting people, my favorite people to get into the conversation for me today, right here on World Cup Central on Channel 1 TV. I'm Gabi Ofe. We'll be back after this. Right, welcome back from the break. This is World Cup Central right here on Channel 1 TV. I'm Gabi Ofe. You can find me on X, Gabi Milito 7. It's an interactive show, so feel free to send me your thoughts ahead of Ghana's game against Mexico later tomorrow. Nope, later. Yeah, tomorrow, 2 a.m. if you're in Ghana, but in Mexico, it'll be later tonight in Puebla. It's Ghana taking on Mexico, and then we'll be looking at the squad named by Thomas Tuchel, the 26-man squad. What are your thoughts about that squad? Just get to us. Feel free to join the conversation from now to somewhere around 4 p.m. Let me introduce my guest. I've got Bernard Abeku in studio with me. You good?
Yeah, superstar.
Nice one. God is the greatest.
Every day.
And also, Benjamin William Graham.
Do you see how he stayed?
You watch me. Graham,
it's a pleasure, man.
Nice one. Right, so those are my two guests for today's conversation, Bernard Abeku and also William Graham. Let's start off Scott Gillan is also on Zoom. He would be joining us on Zoom for today's conversation. Hi, Scott. Welcome to the show.
Hey, afternoon all. Thanks for having me, Gabby. Hope all is
Okay,
well.
great. Stay with me. Let's start the conversation by looking at the Mexican squad and also the Black Star squad that would have Desmond Ofer, who is one of the assistants to Carlos Queiroz. He will be taking charge of that game that will be played later tonight. So the squad is on the screen for you for the Black Stars. There is Joseph Opoku, Prince Amako, David Odro, Ibrahim Osman, Abdulaziz Issa, Majid Ashimeri is in that squad, Jan Kwesi, Jamira, Jesiron Raksechi, Felix Afena Jan, Emmanuel Ejay, Daniel Ejay, Salim Adams plays for Mediamar Sporting Club, Da Costa Enchi, Terry Yegbe, Nathaniel Ejay, Ebenezer Aban, Oscar Opon, Razak Simpson plays for Nations FC in the Ghana Premier League. Ebenezer Dade also in the GPL. Solomon Agbesi plays for Hearts of Oak. Jerry Afriye, and then Benjamin Asari. He also plays for Accra Hearts of Oak. Let's look at that of the Mexican team that will be facing the Black Stars today. So for the Black Stars, it's a squad that is made up of teams who play in the Ghana Premier League and also the under-23. Now, that of the Mexican team, their head coach is Javier Aguirre. It's a 20-man squad on your screen. The goalkeepers, you have Rangel, who plays for Chivas. There is Acevedo, Santos, Laguna, Garcia making up the goalkeepers, Romo, Lira, Gutierrez, Fimbres, Moro, Jay Torres, and also Alvarado for the midfielders. And then for the defenders, there's Ray in there, Reyes, Aguila, Gomez, Garcia, and Gallardo. And then when you look at the forwards, you have Castaneda, Vega, Jim Martinez, Gonzalez. So the head coach, Javier Aguirre. Also, their squad has a lot of players who play in the Mexican League. I'm sure you'll be asking yourself why you're not seeing the key players, for the two countries on the part of the Mexicans and also the Black Stars. The reason is that the friendly is still happening outside of FIFA international window. You have a lot of the clubs still playing their European football. In fact, for the Black Stars, what we know is that Augustin Boachi, who plays for Saint Etienne. His club is part of that promotion playoff, so he had to stay away from this friendly. And so, yeah, that's it. Let me take quick thoughts from the guys in the studio here. Let me start off with you, Bernard. Just snap thoughts on the two squad, starting off with the Black Stars.
With the Black Stars, I feel first off, we say we've gotten talent available, don't we? But it only tells that we've gotten players. That if we are not having our category A, if you want to put them, players available, you can rely on these guys. For some, it's a justify inclusion for them into the Black Stars. For the others, I have a few. It's just to compensate to them, give them hope that they'll be able to feature for the Black Stars one day if there's a possibility. Okay. So for me, first thoughts, a game that won't have Carlos Queiroz at the bench. You only say, hey, look, you are not part of the 55 provisional, but there is an opportunity that you can fall within that range. Next time, if Ghana is assembling, a team, you can have an opportunity to feature. So it's a normal squad for me. Respect to some of the players who've played the Black Stars before, left for a period, and are back into this squad for a friendly. It's a high-profile friendly. We're playing against a country that's hosting a World Cup, and I feel it's just one of those normal squad we can name as part of the stream of talent we've got across.
Okay. Graham, talk to me. I mean, you follow the GPO a lot. What does this friendly mean for this crop of players? Queiroz will not be at the touchline, but Desmond Offer will be the man dishing out the instructions. I'm sure he and Queiroz may have had some conversations regarding their approach. If you're a player and you're part of that squad, what do you think should be running through your mind?
First of all, you have to look at it from the point where there's a clean slate for everybody. If there was even any list or any doubt that you probably would be part of Otuado's squad, you're not too sure now. So Carlos Queiroz is coming in or walked into a team. He has no idea who any of those players are. So he's got to now form his own squad. He's got the opportunity to play this friendly match with Mexico. He's throwing in almost the players that are available currently to play the friendly match. Those that aren't able to make it, there is opportunity for Wales game to also look at that. Now you have that opportunity of looking at those two friendly matches and then make a decision as to which of the players you want to go to the World Cup. We have until June 1 to make a final decision. So it's got 2 games now to decide, okay, these players are picked up, these very young players are picked up. How many of them are able to play part of the 51 or whatever squad name that he wants to put across? So I would say for those here, it's an opportunity to excel. It's an opportunity to tell a story that I am ready and capable of being at the World Cup. For those who have not been called and are looking forward to the Wales game, which might be one of the, I would say, one step away to the World Cup, you would be lucky to be named in that squad for the Wales game, because just after you are in the USA for the World Cup preparation. So there's pressure on these young lads in today's game because you want to be called. You need to be in the squad. So your performance today will justify why Carlos should look at you.
Okay.
He being absent, I can understand, because remember, again, there's a Wales game that's going to come up very shortly, and he's got time now to also expand his tentacles, begin to identify which of the players that will compensate those that are playing today, and then get to the squad. So I know a lot of players are in 2 minds, especially your A-listed players. They are in 2 minds. A lot of them are not sure whether they're going to make the cut or not.
I see.
But I agree. But if you've played well in the season, and you know your numbers, for example, if you've been an integral part of this team and helped this team's progress, you surely know that, look, I'm going to make a certain squad. You are not Neymar to fall out of the game and think, am I going to be called? And you are called and you are super jubilating. For me, this is a local league. Whatever, Mexico, Ghana is a local league game. Respectfully.
Yeah, because on a part of the Mexicans too, they are bringing players who play in the Mexican league.
From the Liga MX. So what it means is that the A players, if you know your numbers, you know you are going for this World Cup.
Okay, so we have to be very careful in identifying who currently is our A player, who is not an A player. Well, that's the first one.
But I think, Graham, if you walk out there and you speak to any football fan, there's a certain set that I think top of your head, people can pinpoint and say, these players are working into Queiroz' final 26-man squad. And then there is another set that, including the players that we've seen who are playing the game later tomorrow, would have to also get themselves into Queiroz' final squad. So I think it makes sense.
So you see, we had 2 friendly matches against Germany and Austria. All of us here believe that those players were not ready for the World Cup after the game. And let's not kid ourselves. We all believe that if this is the team that is going to the World Cup, obviously we're not going to do anything.
But we also understand that we're poorly coached.
And I'm saying,
I mean, that's on the side. Because
that same coach is the same person who picked these players and qualified the team to the World Cup. So I wouldn't sit here and say we're poorly qualified. If we were, we wouldn't have qualified for the World Cup.
The numbers are there to tell. The numbers
so I'm saying if that was the case, we wouldn't have qualified for the World Cup. I'm saying we have been to the World Cup now. If the numbers were that poor, we wouldn't have made it to the World Cup.
Yeah.
Of course, if the numbers are that poor or the numbers are good, for some countries do get good numbers but don't make it. The reason I'm not really playing any monkey-panky with the names or whatever, the thing is, you can have the numbers, but if a coach is looking at a particular play style, you may not be able to make it because then as a player you probably are not looking at will make the cut.
Okay.
Let's understand
and that might be of a shock to many people.
It's not a shock that Tuchel has dropped some players that you thought are doing better at that club level because he's looking at a certain play style that he's going to play at the World Cup. And he's picked certain players who fit for him those bills. And he can't take 2 of them in that position to the World Cup. Or he cannot take 3, probably have to take 1.
Yeah.
So you might think, oh, this person's got numbers than that person. Because as you compare Adam Wating and that of Kobe Mainoo, for instance, in terms of...
There are 2 players, they have resemblance.
Yes.
So you
so
take the 2...
in terms of this whole season, if you take a performance of Adam Wating and Kobe Mainoo, he probably burst into the scene when Mike Carey came in terms of numbers.
Yeah.
But he's made the cut.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that if you're a coach...
who's been consistent
he didn't make the cut. So you're looking at the coach and what he's looking for at the World Cup. And I'm saying that if you have 2 players playing the same position and one has the numbers and one is also consistent but hasn't got the numbers, what happens? You have to make a decision.
Okay.
That's why I'm saying that I don't see any A-listed players here apart from one person, Semenyo.
Is he
really
A-listed?
Because he's done it.
Okay.
So then there's
The rest, I don't know, because he's got the numbers.
Let me.
You can't build our defense, for example.
Speaking of numbers,
So who are your numbers in defense?
Graham, speaking of numbers, Bernard,
goalkeeping,
let me take quick thoughts from Scott Gillan. He does. He follows the Black Stars a lot. Their numbers. Scott, just quick thoughts on. I mean, that conversation that resurfaced, I think 2 weeks ago, that had to do with the quota for home-based players. Now, this squad, when you look at it, has 6 home-based players in there. Just what are their numbers, and what do you think these players would have to do to get themselves into Queiroz' final 26-man squad? Salim Adams was one of the players who had a shout that he should get into that squad.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. There's not particularly good data on most of the GPL players. One of the exceptions is the Mediama team. And Salim's quite an interesting example of a player whose kind of underlying statistics reveal essentially that he's playing as almost a second striker, sort of number 10 role, able to crash the box regularly, gets a lot of shots, actually has more shots per match than Erling Haaland at the moment. And I think that's an interesting situation because obviously Mohamed Kudus is out injured. Ghana have kind of lost their main number 10, their starting number 10. So, you know, some people might say that there's an argument that Salim Adams has shown that he's someone who can carry goal threat from that position and potentially be an interesting option. Then you have kind of Ebenezer Adade, who's a right back, and I think that's a position that we've seen is a bit of a weak spot for the Black Stars of late. We've seen that they've also summoned Jan Giamara, who's sort of getting up there in years, but kind of a Dennis O'Doy style call-up, I think, as a dual national potential right-back option. So they look like they're trying to address that position as well. And obviously the two domestic goalkeepers, the Hearts of Oak boys, who've been kind of competing with each other all season for their club, are now doing so in the Black Stars jersey. So it's certainly interesting to see, and it'll be interesting to see how they go, the opportunities they get. And whether they are utilised tonight. Obviously, we expect at least one of the goalkeepers will be. But it'll be interesting to see whether Salim Ebenezer Dar gets onto the field, and then of course Razak Simpson and Avan, who people will also be familiar with, particularly Simpson. Whether they're given the opportunity to play, or whether they're kind of sitting on the bench to start with and maybe come on in the second half, perhaps. Will be interesting to see.
All right, Scott, on the part of the Mexican team, what are the numbers looking like? Because they've also paraded a large chunk of players who play in the Mexican League. Let's not forget that the Football Federation actually issued a statement warning that who exempts himself in that squad should forget about making it to the World Cup. It means that they are paying a lot of attention to that game against Ghana.
Yeah, I mean, that team is, as far as I know, has been training together for about 2 weeks. It is an team that's exclusively made up of players who are playing in the Liga MX. And I'm sure several of them will have their eye on a World Cup spot. It'll be really interesting to see how they go. They're obviously going to be much more familiar with the conditions. They're going to be much more familiar with the altitude. Apparently it's 2,100 meters high in Puebla, which is pretty high, much higher than most of the players will be used to playing at. Certainly the Ghanaian boys, and and I think it's an 8 p.m. kickoff in Puebla as well. So, when you think about things like time zone, those players, some of them, it's 2-3 a.m. in the morning for them in terms of their body clock. It's going to be a tough match, and I think the Liga MX boys will be hoping to have kind of impressed in these last 2 weeks and make a statement, you would imagine, against Ghana, and really put their names up, put their hands up for selection for the World Cup, because there's 20 of them in this squad, and I suspect certainly a handful, if not more, will have real legitimate World Cup aspirations. Okay,
let me bring you Bernard. I don't want us to visit that conversation again about whether the friendly is not of that high relevance to the two coaches, because it's happening outside the FIFA window and all of that. But just like Scott mentioned, and you also mentioned with Graham, a lot of these players would want to prove a point to Desmond Offer, who then probably will cut that report to Carlos Queiroz. I'm sure Queiroz will be paying attention to. The FA says that Queiroz had to drop out because of personal reasons.
I don't believe that.
How don't you believe it?
I don't
unless
believe
you have a contrary.
I don't believe it. I don't believe
unless
it.
you have a contrary reason.
What do you think that reason is?
Okay, what's the reason?
I don't believe
So
that
what is your reason?
there is any special reason why he's omitting himself from this friendly.
What do you know?
It's of no importance.
What do you know?
That's what I'm saying. It's of no importance. What I know is
he
would need time. What I know is he would need time to monitor the A players who you say you don't want to put them in the A.
So what he has skipped this friendly to go.
What's wrong if he says he's going to? What's wrong if the statement of him working is made available? What is wrong with that? So if the custodians of the information say for personal reasons he's not going to be there, unless Carlos has told you that he's going to monitor players.
You all know, in this business,
I don't know.
we have where we get our information from.
Okay, so your information is that.
And my information is this game is not of any, importance, relevance, if you want to.
Why would you say
and,
so? Are you saying it because it's happening outside the FIFA window? Or you think that the second one because you don't have top talent in there? So
these are important details you are even putting out.
Yeah.
Because he'll need time to watch the last part of the league. Also, as part of his assessment, to know, whether a player he included in the 55 provisional is staying, firm or out of injury or what have you, to make a critical decision. Recall, the coach mentioned that this is one of the difficult jobs he's taking because there's no time.
Okay.
Yesterday I was with ex-players and I was trying to find out, would they love, for example, as players, with this short time, with a new coach, to have, friendly matches aside the Wales game? And they say, yeah, they feel it's important because the coach is new to the setup. The Mexican game does not matter. The Mexican game really does not matter. It does not matter because look at the players we selected in that space. Respect to those players. I love players. I understand the hustle and tussle they go through, moving away from families at a very young age to get them to become pros and get an opportunity into the national team. They have the opportunity to have this rehearsal, to put them in a certain condition of you might get an opportunity.
Okay.
But I'm not sure the coach is going to, apart from maybe the goalkeeper, which he needed time to see again.
Who? Benjamin Asari?
Benjamin Asari.
Okay.
You know, and we'll be taking reports from Desmond Affair. He's focused on looking at these guys out there. And it's not an international break. The league is still running.
You know,
Graham, you have a different opinion.
I totally do. First of all, there's nothing wrong for the FA to tell you that Carlos Queiroz is probably on an assignment to monitor players or to whatever.
They don't have to tell us.
Therefore, Desmond Affair is going to handle that. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong for the FA to let us know what role Carlos Queiroz is currently playing, why he's not in Mexico. There's nothing wrong with that. I have no idea, or I don't have any information contrary to what has been posted or been made available to us. I don't.
So let's stick to the personal reasons.
Going by the fact
I know you have an idea. I know you have an idea.
You allow him to make
I know he's got an idea.
Allow him to make his point.
Official mouthpiece says for personal reasons.
Yeah.
My job at the moment is for me to monitor the coach and begin to ask questions. If for personal reasons he's not going to be there, and that's one of is doing the job. For personal reasons, I'm expecting to see the coach at the Wolves game.
Okay.
Because what are those personal reasons?
I'm saying that for personal reasons, because he's not. You are saying that this is not important.
Yeah.
For the Wolves game, it's also a friendly game.
It's super important. The Wolves game.
So I am saying that is a match that after you play, you are moving straight to the USA. Okay?
Not a game you are playing at 2 a.m.
No, I mean, at the time, we all knew the World Cup. If the teams that are going to play in Mexico, what time are they supposed to be playing?
Yeah, so a lot of the matches will be around that time.
So I'm saying.
Are you staying up to watch that game? If you are, because it's your job.
I've stayed to watch Azuma Nelson play.
Oh, that's Azuma Nelson. That was an international bout, isn't it?
So
WBC bout.
Let's allow Graham to finish his point.
There's nothing wrong with me staying and watching. Yeah. The last time Black Stars played Mexico, what was the time? We watched.
It was late.
Yeah, so
well.
Maybe I want to share.
Hey.
So the point I'm raising here is that, one, he is not available.
Okay.
Desmond Affair, the assistant, is available to coach the team.
Yeah.
That's it. This is also an important game for Ghana. Why so? Because the FA knew that we may not necessarily have enough time to prepare for the World Cup. This international friendly match was originally for the main Black Stars until it was realized that no, it falls under FIFA calendar or FIFA date. So then you have to assemble a team. Now, how do you assemble the team? You need a team that you know, give and take. 6, 7 of them can make it to the main Black Stars.
The 55 provisional.
I just want to say the main
not
Black
the 26.
Stars. Yeah. So you have to be very strategic in putting the team together. Imagine that Shumeri has played a role in the Black Stars.
Yeah. He's been in and around.
Some of them have been in and around the Black Stars.
Felix Afena, Jan.
Yeah. So you are assembling a team that you know potentially, even a little bit of a foundation of the Black Stars can be hinged on them.
Yeah.
Then now you're going to the Wales game, where you are now going to call your favorite creme de la creme to come. And if you ask me today who the creme de la creme are,
we all know, you know.
Who are those?
The guy who's the top scorer in the Saudi Pro League is a Mexican.
Good.
He is not part of this squad.
Good.
Because he's a Category A player for the national team.
Good.
So they also have a similar fate.
They have a similar situation.
So I am saying that
our player who falls in the top 5 top scorers of the Premier League is not in this squad.
Because why?
Because he's a Category A player.
Because and the league is not over in England, is it?
It is not.
Good. So I can understand why it's not available.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that
the league is not over in Ghana, is it?
But it's not. I mean, it's also not over. Yeah? But at least I'm saying these players are not your so-called Category A. Those local players that were called. I get it. But I'm saying that the players you want to consider as Category A players, that automatically they are going to make the cut for the World Cup. I said that's not the case. Absolutely not the case.
You also have to justify your
I am saying
inclusion.
that everybody at the moment is going to justify his inclusion to the World Cup. We shouldn't, make it look like some players are already going to the World Cup no matter what. The one who has justified why he should be there, for me, Semenyo, true and true.
Wow.
Who else has justified? Apart from him, tell me, name the players that we're going to the World Cup that you know.
I mean, some can make argument for themselves based on the numbers they've chalked. Yesterday, I saw the conversation
Gideon
Christopher
Bonsuba,
who plays for Alcacia in the Saudi Pro League. he has 15 goal involvement. So 3 goals, 12 assists.
So I'm saying, as for Carlos Queiroz, he's got a clean slate. I am not imposing players on him.
Yeah.
He's got the opportunity to decide who he will go to the World Cup.
Okay.
And I'm saying that for us to sit here, we have looked at the players that we already know, and we think that automatically they should go. If Carlos comes and says that per what he's seen, he's not going with those players, what are we going to say?
Okay. Let's go for a quick break. When we come back, we continue the conversation, right? I'd like to hear from you also. Just send me your thoughts on what your thoughts are about the squad. And actually, if you're going to stay up to watch the game, it's 2 a.m. Ghana time. That's so later tomorrow, Saturday, but 8 p.m. Mexican time. Scott Gillan is also on Zoom. So we'll come back right after the break to continue the conversation right here on Channel 1 TV. I'm Gabi Ofer, World Cup Central. We'll be back. Welcome back from the break. This is World Cup Central on Channel 1 TV. I'm Gabi Ofer here with Benjamin William Graham and also Bernard Abeku Oshre. You can also join the conversation by sharing your thoughts with me. Let's continue the conversation. Let me bring Scott Gillan in. Scott, let's look at the friendly. When you look at the Mexican national team, before they kick off their first game against South Africa, on June 11, that's the opening game, they have 2 more friendly games to play. One against Australia on May 30, and then the second one against Serbia on June 1st, I believe. But in part of the Black Stars, when you take out this friendly, Queiroz has just woes to deal with, where he gets to see what Graham would say the A-listed players. Do you think that would disrupt Queiroz's preparations with the team before that first game against Panama?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, I think this Mexico friendly is a bit of a strange one. I think when it was originally announced, they made clear that it was going to be a combination of local-based players due to the scheduling requiring essentially that they're more easy to get released by their clubs. They also said it would be young players with a view to the U23 qualification campaign that Ofe would be leading. And then there would be some players that were being sort of seniors that were being monitored at the time by Otto Addo. And I think that the nature of the friendly has perhaps changed somewhat because of the replacement of Addo with Queiroz, and the fact that Queiroz probably is trying to use it to assess players much more than perhaps Otto Addo was going to do. I think, when it was first announced, the friendly, I think, as I understand it, the expectation was that Otto Addo wasn't going to be there. The fact that Carlos Queiroz has just been announced today that he's not going to be there, I think is kind of strange. I think they could have gone without saying too much. It seemed pretty clear that he wasn't in attendance from all of the images, the graphics that were being shared, etc. And so now he is going to obviously only have that Wales match, unless at the last minute a second friendly is organised, which would be good. I think it's difficult for Queiroz because I think, as far as I know, I think he has to name his squad before the Wales match.
Yeah.
And give it to FIFA. So he's actually not going to get to assess the players at all. In a match context, he's obviously going to get them for training, but he's not going to get his hands on them in a match before that squad gets announced. So I think the friendly is crucial in terms of the players having the opportunity to perform for Queiroz. They'll give him some insight into how they can undertake his instructions in a full match context, under pressure, with kind of not just sort of, well, for with tournament sort of positions on the line, so to speak. But look, I think the Mexico friendly is probably the more disruptive part of the schedule. I think it's really bizarre that it was organised outside of a window. I just can't see the logic for it. And I think it's a shame that they have 2 fixtures organised pre-World Cup, and one of them that is featuring a number of players who presumably are not going to play. And I suspect maybe even aren't inside the top 55. When really what you'd have wanted was at least one friendly for Quiroz before he has to name his squad with a much more complete group. And it will be interesting to see how tonight goes and whether any players can sort of parlay a strong performance tonight into a World Cup spot. Perhaps some of the surprises, someone like a Joseph Opoku, for example, a young player who's ended the season in very good form. Prince Amawako, some of those kind of younger type players who've got exciting profiles and actually are playing at positions that may have seemed kind of a closed book a little while ago, but now arguably are a bit more open. With people like Kamaldeen not playing much for his club, Ernest Nuama obviously still injured, Kudus injured. There is space, I think, for the likes of Amawako, for the likes of Joseph Opoku, Jerry Freer, of course, Felix Afena-Jammeh, some of those attackers, I think, to potentially push themselves in to a kind of serious squad discussions, but we'll see.
Scott, before I let you go, before I move on to my guest in studio with me, I just want you to stay with the Prince Amawako Jr. You mentioned him slightly. He plays for North-Island. He's had a very good season for his club side, and he's one of the players that has received a lot of shots to get into that final 26-man squad. What are your thoughts about him? And then, what it would mean for him to get into the squad itself?
I think he's a really exciting player. Kind of right footer, plays in Nordsjælland, works off the left wing into kind of inside channels. And it's interesting having seen kind of a number now of players go through that Nordsjælland pipeline where you think about Kudus first, and then Kamaldeen, and then Nuama, and then now Amawako is kind of the next star. Obviously, Urenchi we all know about, but in terms of the attackers, Amawako is the next kind of sort of man off, guy from the pipeline, basically, who looks very promising. And I think when you see him play, he's got some really nice touches. I think he's a bit more like Ernest Nuama than I think he is than Kamaldeen Sulemana, but I think he's also got a little bit more subtlety to his game, and I really have high hopes that he will translate his form and his performances in Denmark onto a higher level, more successfully than we've seen, for example, from Kamaldeen, whose career since leaving Nordsjælland has been a bit stop-start. And I think that the subtlety, I think his quality as a passer is higher than Kamaldeen is, and I think his decision-making already seems to be more polished than we saw from Kamaldeen when he was the same age. So I think he has a really good chance, and I think his form and this particular opportunity in this match, hopefully we'll see him granted the opportunity to go to the World Cup, because I think his skill set's one that Ghana have been lacking. I think with Kudus out, having someone comfortable in those small pockets is going to be very important. And I think with his sort of the subtlety of his passing as well, his two-footedness, his crossing, his kind of dual threat, he's a very exciting prospect, and hopefully gets a few touches tonight if the team is not completely overrun.
Wow, interesting thoughts. Thank you for that, Scott. Let me take Bernard's thoughts on what you are looking out for in today's friendly. I know you don't like the friendly, but certainly, what should we pay attention to? The result or the performance from the players?
Don't get me wrong. I love this friendly. I love it.
I said it's needless.
Yeah, the timing, and if we are looking at our category A players, it doesn't really matter. But like Graham Riley indicated, the initial plan was to get our team that will be competing in the World Cup to play in this kind of friendly, but for the FIFA international break or the FIFA international space that does not allow us to have our boys in. That's why I'm super excited that even with that, which I feel is not really an important game, it gives players we've mentioned, we continue on, mentioning that giving an opportunity at the Black Stars, they're able to excel players, who play in the Ghana Premier League, for example. We've spoken about, I don't want to bring this conversation back again, but speaking about the quota system. And when we spoke about the quota system, we didn't just say that there should just be 3 slots for any player at all to just enter the Black Stars out of the 26-man provisional space that's available. All we're saying is that if you are paying attention to a certain league, just like Thomas Tuchel paid attention to Ivan Toney in the Saudi Pro League, he is able to identify a player who's gotten good numbers and help that cause. So we are not just saying just create a space and just pick anybody at all. All we're saying is that this friendly is providing an opportunity for us to see what exactly Salim Adams is, for example, doing in the local league and gotten a slot in there. And should he get an opportunity? See, coaches just don't pick players into the national space. They invite players for important reasons, players who can help their cause to be successful. So if you are calling any player into a provisional squad, a 55 or a 26, man squad for a major competition, you look at who can help you and whatever you want to, or help you reach your target you've set for yourself as a coach or as a technical team, So my point is, it has provided that platform for us to see the Ghanaian players we spoke of, get an opportunity, because this game is Black Stars versus Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah, not
under 23,
under 23 versus or Ghana youth versus Mexican national Mexican youth.
The look on Graham's face.
No man, I agree. I understand where he's coming from, but my point is, when we started talking about this, we knew what we were talking about. Okay. It was not something that just dropped in our spirit for us to say that, look, we need the provision for local guys into our setup. All we're saying is that this friendly, for example, it has said everything that we've been talking about or championing for a minute. So I feel that even though it is not really relevant, these boys, the local guys in there, they are going to prove a point. And I tip Salim because I've seen what he can do. And I know he can do it. I've watched games from the Ghana Premier League to Division 3 in Ghana football, even more coach football and all of that. And I know the quality that, I've been on the grounds, I've been through communities where people have said there are no organized league system. The boys just come play for recreational stuff. But they have agents who fly into the country, stand there and pick players and take them out of the country. It tells you what we have here in the country. So we are saying that a local player, i.e. player who plays in the Ghana Premier League, can earn a spot in the Black Stars setup. We know what we are talking about. Okay. What did that agency that he picked that boy from Ninoy Park in Ashaman? What did he see? Or maybe at Nima, a park, a Sakura Park in Nima. So, I mean, even though it is not really that friendly, we want to look out for, because we are all wanting to see our Black Stars. We're not happy what we saw against Austria and Germany. We are hopeful that the local boys given the opportunity will sell a proper game.
Okay. Graham, should I review the other side of where you belong? Or actually, before I proceed with my question?
No, I mean, you can.
There's one player who's also received a lot of shouts after the exploits of Mediama Sporting Club. Even before Mediama clinched the title, he was always in the news. That's the guy he mentioned, Salim Adams. He's also been looked at somebody who can more like fill in that slot. That's if you leave kudos. You are very closer to him and more of the GPL players in there. How should these players just embrace that again? Would you be surprised if he doesn't get any shouts into the team?
See, I am a believer of a certain philosophy by a Nigerian coach of blessed memory, Stephen Keshi.
Oh.
In 2013, when the odds were against him, when the foreign-based players were not in form, and some of them were, up in arms with management, there were some bonuses, they were not ready to come and play. He actually gave opportunity to the local team in Nigeria to go to the 2013 AFCON.
Yeah.
Ahmed Musa scored a winning goal for them to claim the title. And when the opportunity came for him to speak at the team, he said, those foreign-based players were once upon a time local-based players.
100%.
They got opportunity and they became who they are. And so when he was handing over jerseys to the local players, he told them that this jersey was once worn by a local player who now is abroad. So you can be that person. And that Nigerian team that he coached went all the way, made up of locally based players, and won the AFCON for Nigeria. So it's about having a belief in the players and telling them what they can do on the day. You see, oftentimes our local players feel inferior when they get to the Black Stars team, especially so when they meet these A-listed Abeku's team at the World Cup or at any national
why is
team.
it so? Isn't something that's to do with
because, they come with a certain aura. And let's be honest with you.
Aura,
I mean, he's going
Dennis Costa told me when he met the day, you had a kind of conversation when he got into the Black Stars.
Why are you going far? This gentleman walks back from USA. He's going to change his aura around you.
100%. 100%.
And that's
like when you return from UK.
you know the aura was
I
different.
felt the aura.
That's
it.
So that's the fact. So the thing is, when you walk into the national team, and I remember you speak to those of blessed memory, Michael Asantes and the rest, and they tell you that you walk into the national team, you have the Sami Kufors, you have the Gas Nahim Fools, and you have those big guys coming in. You even try hiding. And one thing that made me love Jan was that he noticed that of the local players in national team camp. And that's the reason he tried to bring all of them together with this Jama stuff and creating some jokes. And that was
dancing
why
around and
trying to integrate them. Like, we are together. You're not different. You know, there's that thing of differential behavior. Like, oh, you got local players, you got foreign-based players. But he found a way to bring everybody together. That no matter we are national team. So I'm saying that it depends on how you are able to integrate them into the team proper and make them feel that they belong to the same core and they have the same ideologies and whatever they need to do together. So for me, the point here is Salim Adams has played in Ghana for Hearts of Oak. He's gone to Cincinnati in the USA. He's back in Ghana.
Back in the country.
And I've said today, in fact, I told somebody that for him to pick up the pieces, you see, it's difficult when you walk in outside from away from Ghana, go to USA of all places, and walk back to Ghana. It's like going back to.
There's a guy in Brekumo Bechem who went to Manchester City and got back.
Yeah, got back.
It is
gone.
killed his confidence.
So for him to get to this stage, it means that there's somebody who was doing a good job mentally with him, that you can do it and get back. And he's got back to the stage where now he belongs. And not that he just got there, he worked his socks off to get there. 12 goals as a midfielder in the Premier League season. And look at the cracking goals he scores. You need such players in the national team because we're complaining about set pieces in Ghana, Black Stars. If Jordan is not picking those balls, who else is doing that? If it's not Kudus, who else is doing that? But you've got the level of Salim Adams in the national team where you know that any free kick outside the 18-yard box and you have him, he can actually get the goal for you. So we have somebody in that caliber who can deliver when the opportunity comes. So I'm particularly excited for him. Let's come back to the goalkeeping side. When last did we have a local-based player, goalkeeper, manning the Black Stars goalkeeping area? That all of us like, okay, we've got consistency that we're looking for. Joe nearly got to 206 World Cup, and until we brought in Richard Kinson, and that was the end of the story. And oftentimes our local goalkeepers go in and they become third fiddle or second fiddle to national. They don't even get to even be imposed, so they come back, they're not called again. But when Benjamin Asare walked in, he cemented his place. He kicked out whoever we knew. All the top foreign-based goalkeepers. I mean, recently your friend got an award in Switzerland. And I mean, he got an award. I mean, which means that he's doing something. The reason.
Why did you say my friend?
I know. The reason I'm excited for him is that with that performance, it means that he's recognized there's competition back home. So he pushed him out there to go out and perform to get back his place. So for him to be awarded there, which meant that he realized that if I don't perform, I'm not coming back to the national team. So it's also a plus for us that we have two top goalkeepers who's been very consistent. In fact, if you pick Hearts of Oak season this year, with the 19 clean sheets, you have Asare with about, what, is it 18?
I think it's clocking, it's clocking. Because half of the season he had done 12 already.
So consistency-wise, it's okay. And now Tshisekedi is winning awards in Senegal for a good performance. It means that with our top goalkeepers, we are good to go. He's realized that, listen, I'm not coming back easily because Asare is there. Solomon Agbashi was supposed to be number one at Hearts of Oak, but for injury. And Benjamin Asare became number one. And so he also recognized that, listen, I think I've got opportunity. Because he also played our 12th clean sheet for Hearts of Oak, Solomon. So the two top goalkeepers of Hearts of Oak are the top class goalkeepers currently in the national team. And your Manafs and your Atizigis, who are your top two goalkeepers then, are now playing third and fourth fiddle in the national team. That is somewhat a competition. So we need to appreciate that. An area where we haven't done well is the striking side, the forwards. where even your top scorer in the local league never gets a national team call-up. And I'm not too sure this season the top scorer, if it happens to be Okra, is going to get a Black Stars call-up. I'm not too sure about that. And that for me is also another bane on our league, that your top scorer gets to score 16, 15 goals. You're talking about somebody involved in 15 goals in Saudi, but you expect him to get a call-up in the national team.
15-goal involvement.
Wait, but you expect him to get a call-up in the national team.
Because we're dealing with the numbers.
Yeah, but tell you expect him to get a call-up, right?
But
you're not going to get the local person with 15 goals get a call-up.
Well,
that's not fair.
No, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying
you
is
don't need to say it, but you're telling me
the conversation around getting players into the squad at the time was one. We were looking at the numbers.
Good.
If you are going by that metric, it means that there's, what's his name? Christopher Bonsuba, who plays for our cars here, should be in the squad.
And then August Okra.
Okra tops the league. He should be in the squad.
Absolutely.
If you're going with that metric, fair enough.
Yeah. So if you're going with numbers, he doesn't want to go with numbers. He's going with personality. So
no, I'm not going with personalities. When it comes to strikers, I've seen a lot.
You have to go for a break. Just 15 seconds. Say what you want to say.
I've seen a lot. He's laughing. I've seen a lot in terms of how goals are scored when it comes to strikers in this country. And I'm not pleased. I don't like it.
Okay,
you don't like who?
I don't like it. How goals are scored.
We have to get some thoughts from the fans as well ahead of the game. So we're taking a very quick break. When we come back, we'll get the thoughts of the fans ahead of Ghana's game against Mexico. Stay with us right here on Channel 1 TV. This is World Cup Central. We'll be back after this. Right, welcome back from the break. This is World Cup Central right here on Channel 1 TV. I'm Gabi Ofe. We're done with Bernard Abe and Benjamin William Graham. Let's take the thoughts of the fans ahead of Ghana's game against Mexico. On Zoom, I've got Beneza. Welcome to the show.
Right, thank you very much.
Great. Talk to me. What are your expectations about Ghana's game against Mexico?
Well, it will be a tough game for Ghana. You know, we are not going to play our best team. Literally going to play kind of our third team or so. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough game, but I expect more from the guys because you have to prove yourself to get into the national team ahead of the World Cup. So, for the likes of Salim Adams, the likes of Razak Simpson and all those people, I hope they put a very good performance. We can potentially earn them a call-up in the national team. So, yes, I'm not expecting a win because there's not, like I said earlier, there's not our best team. But then, if we can pull out a draw, I'll be glad.
Are you confident about this team? I mean, like you mentioned, you don't have the likes of Semenyo and the key starters in there. But what certain players would you be looking out for to perform? And if you think they can get into Queiroz' final 26-man squad, he'll be naming?
Especially the local players, the likes of Salim Adams per se. For me, he has really proven himself to be one of the best midfielders in the league. For medium, scoring over 8 goals in the Premier League. That's not easy as a midfielder. And then there's this guy, Oscar Opon from Granada, who has played over 37 games for them this season. Literally missing out on just one league game for them in the La Liga. So personally, I believe that these two players are the ones I'll be looking out for, potentially, who can get into the World Cup squad. But the rest, I don't think any of them, irrespective of today's performance, I don't think anything can happen to, ahead of the World Cup.
So just Salim for you, Salim Adams for you, just Salim.
Salim and then Oscar Opon from Granada.
Okay. Your predictions for that game, and then I go to the next person.
Okay, so I'll go in a 1-0 win for Mexico or 0-0 for, both sides. Okay,
thank you so much, Ebenezer, for sharing your thoughts with us. Let's talk to Caleb, who is also joining us to share your thoughts. Hi, Caleb, welcome to the show. Just quick thoughts on what you're expecting from that friendly, Ghana-Mexico.
I'm not really expecting much from the Black Stars of Ghana in this game because we don't have the senior players in the team, the likes of Jordan Ayew, the likes of Thomas Partey, Mohamed Kudus, Antoine Semenyo. In defense, Alexander Jukwenku. So I'm not expecting much from this team because it's a new set, a new group of players who have been called up to come and do a job. And they don't know themselves. We have among almost 15 players who have not played among themselves before. So I don't expect them to come and pull a surprise against Mexico. And from the way the Mexico national team coach spoke that any player who missed this game against the Black Stars of Ghana was not going to the World Cup. Therefore, made some of the Mexican players show up for this game. I am expecting that they'll do a very good job against the Black Stars of Ghana. However, these guys who want to prove themselves and come and do a job for us should try their best and then, salvage the situation for us. Maybe not. We don't hope that the Black Stars will get embarrassed, but at least a slim goal margin loss against them wouldn't be bad.
All right, Caleb, your predictions for the game, and if you'll be staying awake to watch it. It's at 2 a.m. Ghana time.
Yeah, I'll stay awake to watch. I remember 3 or 4 years ago, we played them when we lost 2-0. I think this one will be much a greater scoreline, considering the squad we have. So I think it will end 3-0 in favor of the Mexicans.
3-0 in favor of the Mexicans? Okay, just hold on for me. I just want to pick your thoughts on how well Ghana will do at the World Cup since you're on the show for the first time. You can put some score lines to it. Panama, England, Croatia.
Okay, I am very confident we will beat Panama because of Carlos Queiroz being the head coach of the Black Stars of Ghana. In 2018, they drew against Portugal and then Spain. So even with that Iran team, he was able to do a job against the top side, considering that Ghana have much more quality up front and even in defense a bit, with the likes of Jiku, Kojo Pompepra, and the other guys. So I feel the Black Stars of Ghana will do a job in the World Cup against Panama if you can hold Croatia to a draw. And I'm very confident because what I've seen of the England squad announced by Thomas Tuchel today, I think it has given me confidence against the English national team. Because some of the players I see in attack and those who have not been called. So I think we beat Panama maybe by some slim goal margin, 2-1, 3-2. Then we hold a draw against Croatia. Then we draw against England. So 5 points or at least 4 points for us in that tournament.
I see. Then we progress, right? Then we progress to the next stage. Okay, I'll take same answers from Ebenezer as well. Ebenezer, Panama, England, Croatia. How confident are you? You can put score lines to them too, and the points to get us progress out of the group.
All right, I'm predicting a 4 point for Ghana. Ghana is going to win against England. For me, I see that happening because the English team, good, but then when stories begin to arise, a lot of issues are going to distract the team. So yeah, I see Ghana winning against England, losing against Croatia by a goal to nil, and then at least maybe a 1-1 draw with Panama.
All right, thank you so much, Ebenezer and Caleb, for joining us on today's fun engagement. I'm sure you'll be keeping tabs on that friendly against Mexico. We'll catch you same time another time. Thank you so much. So, let me take some messages and then we'll take the show home. This is from Majid. He says he's watching us live from Tuni in the Northeast region part in Ghana. It says, in my opinion, I think Ghana has quality players to compete with other countries, but our main problem is the goalkeeper because looking at the alternatives we have now, it's only Semenyo who is justified his inclusion in the squad. But Ibrahim Sulemana from Atlanta and Kwesisi Fatah Isaku are confident of making it into the squad. So that's a message from Tuni, who's watching the show all the way from the Northeast region. Thank you so much to our fans. You saw them earlier, Ebenezer and also Caleb. Earlier on here from Scott Gillan, who was on Zoom on today's episode, and also my colleague Bernard Abekwoshe and Benjamin William Graham. We're back same time next week, 3 to 4 p.m. World Cup Central on Channel 1 TV. And many thanks to my production team for making this a success. I'm Gabi Ofer. Take care and bye-bye.